My name is Susie Kirk. I am 35 years old, balancing life, both office work and housework. I met my husband Sam, who is 5 years older than me, through a mutual friend. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and we got married. We are a family of 3, including our 8-year-old son Sean. Sam works at a branch of a well-known major company. His dream is to someday work at the company's headquarters. He is ambitious and earnest, and he takes his job seriously. Sometimes he comes home around midnight, which worries me, but his hard work is commendable. I have continued to support him. For 10 years since we got married, I have diligently managed household chores, child-rearing, and work. I make sure that Sam can leave for work feeling good every day and can rest easy when he comes home late at night. When I talk to my friends, they sometimes say, "Aren't you overdoing it, or you could slack off a bit without getting scolded?" But I was always good at managing things, so it never felt too hard. Sam also often thanked me, saying, "Thanks always, Susie. I can keep going every day because of you." It made me happy, and I felt even more motivated. Finally, Sam's promotion was decided. As soon as he got home, he exclaimed, "Yes. Listen! I got promoted! And the project I worked on was recognized, so I'm going to be honored at the headquarters next time. I was the first among my peers to get promoted. Isn't that great? That's amazing! Congratulations!" Seeing my husband so giddy like a child made me feel as if it was my own joy. I was truly happy. His efforts had finally paid off. I couldn't be anything but happy. If only he could make a little more time for family. I smiled and watched my husband as he celebrated. But in the next moment, I would be plunged into hell. "So, that's why I'm leaving you. Just so you know." "Huh?" I couldn't understand what he said for a moment. Stunned, I stared back at my husband's face. Seeing my dumbfounded look, my husband chuckled through his nose. "I'm telling you, I'm leaving you. I have a lover, you know. She's the department head's daughter, 26 years old this year. I'm gonna remarry her, so I don't need an old woman like you anymore. We're getting a divorce." "What?" No use, even hearing it again, I just can't understand. A lover? A divorce? And remarriage? What am I being told right now? Just a while ago, I was celebrating my husband's promotion with him. "What do you mean? Please, explain it to me properly." "Huh? Honestly, you really are useless as a wife. Well, I guess someone like you, just a part-timer, couldn't understand all at once. My husband is mistaken. I'm not a part-timer, I'm a full-time employee. How can he make such a mistake about his own wife? And to call me a useless wife, he has never said that before. My mind is in turmoil. Is this really his true nature?" Confused and after much thought, I eventually agreed to the divorce. And then, at his awards ceremony, he would find out. The real me that he had always underestimated. "Sam. Congratulations on your award. By the way, how is your married life going with my granddaughter?" "What?" To discuss the shock that befell my husband, I should start from the day he sprung the divorce on me. Out of the blue, he declared he had a lover and wanted a divorce. I was completely bewildered. Without caring for my state, he began to chatter away. However, his story was long, and he interspersed insults towards me throughout, so I couldn't really listen properly. Essentially, he had ingratiated himself with the department head's daughter to use it as a stepping stone for his promotion. He got close to the daughter and had her speak to her father on his behalf. He also cozied up to the department head to advance his own career. He even mentioned that his recent project was recognized because of the department head's influence. And on the department head's advice, he decided to leave me and marry his daughter. That's the gist of what my husband said. My head was spinning. The department head knew my husband was married and still encouraged him to marry his daughter. This means that he was essentially supporting the affair. What does it mean that he didn't reproach his own daughter for becoming the mistress of a married man? If this ever came to light, the department head would surely be held accountable. No doubt, my husband, feeling indebted to the department head, would certainly start doing as he was told. It was as if he'd acquired a convenient puppet. Was my husband using the department head, or was it the other way around? The more I thought about it, the less I understood. No, I didn't even want to understand. Seeing me silent, my husband sighed. "Hey, how long are you gonna stay quiet? All I want is a yes to the divorce. Here, the divorce papers. Just sign them already." He pulled out a folded divorce paper from his pocket and slammed it on the table. "I'm sick of you. Always fussing over me without being asked, constantly showing off how hard you're trying. It's annoying, and I don't feel relaxed at home at all. Just being in the same space as you is suffocating. Plus, ever since you had Sean, you've aged so much and hardly care about your appearance anymore. You don't look like a woman to me. This is like fraud. I don't need an old woman like you in my life anymore. Oh, and don't forget to take Sean with you when you leave." What an awful thing to say. I never thought my husband could think such things. These must be his true feelings. What about my true feelings? I asked myself. I thought I had been supporting my husband all this time. I thought we were working together as a married couple. But, it turns out, it was just my own wishful thinking. He found my attentive care annoying all along. And now, he's made a lover and even says he'll divorce me to marry her. After all these insults, do I still want to be with him? No, it's impossible. I had already made up my mind. I don't want to spend another second with this person. Divorce. That's the only option left. Fortunately, I am independent. He somehow misunderstands me as a part-timer, but I have a steady income. And this is his fault. I could claim child support. Depending on how I approach it, I don't think he would refuse to pay. Yes, that's right. Even if I divorce my husband, I won't have any problems. Okay. I agree to the divorce. I picked up the divorce papers and smoothly signed. He watched with a satisfied look on his face. I'll ask for child support. It's going to be just Sean and me from now on. When I said that pitifully, my husband twisted his lips in a sense of superiority. Yeah, that's right. It'd be a hassle if you kept clinging to me every time you ran out of money. Unlike you, a part-timer, I am an elite who just got promoted. Be grateful for my generosity. Thank you. I'll move out within a few days. It's shocking that he had hidden this true nature for 10 years. Or maybe I was just too dull to notice. In the end, maybe we were both self-centered. We never really saw each other properly. I don't care anymore about a husband who shows no concern for his own son. I started preparing to leave the house. Sean, your dad and I are going to get divorced. I explained the situation properly to my son. When I told him about the divorce and that I would be taking care of him, Sean's face crumpled. It startled me. I thought it might make him cry, but that wasn't it. He began to speak in a soft voice. Mom, actually, I saw Dad walking with a woman I didn't know a long time ago. What? I think it was the same woman all 3 times. I felt like I had to tell you, but I just couldn't. Sean looked down. Seeing him like this, my heart ached. I hadn't realized how much this was troubling him. I am such a fool. I hugged Sean tightly and stroked his small head. I'm sorry for making you go through this. I'm sorry I didn't notice sooner. I'm such a bad mom. Mom, you're not bad at all. Dad is the one who's wrong for betraying you and me. It's not your fault. Sean, I'm going with Mom. Dad's words don't matter. I choose Mom. I don't need Dad anymore. Sean's words made tears well up in my eyes. But there was no time to cry. We divided the tasks and packed up our things, cleaning out the room. It was only 3 days after filing the divorce papers that we were ready to leave the house. When I told my parents about the situation, they said I could come back home anytime. I planned to stay at my parents' house for a while. I took some time off work and left the house in my car while my ex-husband was at work during the day. I picked up Sean from school and headed straight to my parents' house. Ultimately, I hadn't spoken a single word to my ex-husband since submitting the divorce papers. Well, he's my ex-husband now. Once I made up my mind, I felt no emotion towards him. The 10 years that felt too long to just call a learning experience didn't bother me much anymore. I considered it part of my life experience. I realized I wasn't as attached to my life with my ex-husband as I thought. It was fulfilling to accomplish things I had decided on my own. It didn't have to be with my ex-husband. Everything made sense now. From now on, I will use that energy for myself and my son. I decided. At my parents' house, my mom welcomed me warmly. "Welcome home. You've had a tough time. Stay as long as you need." "Thank you, Mom. I will take you up on that." "Sean, welcome. There's a room prepared for you. I hope you like it." "Thank you." Sean entered the house, slightly nervous. But he quickly warmed up to his grandmother, and every time he called her grandma, she beamed with joy. As evening came, my dad came home and exploded with anger towards my ex-husband. What was Sam thinking? Or rather, was he thinking at all? It's unbelievable that he could do this to a family that includes Susie and Sean. Even though he's still working and active, my dad was angrier at my ex-husband than even I was. While calming my indignant father, I wondered what would happen next. The following week, as expected, I got a call from my ex-husband. "Hey! What is this all about? Keep it down. Can you lower your voice?" I replied calmly to my ex-husband, who started shouting as soon as I picked up the phone. "Why are you calling all of a sudden? I've received child support, our ties should be completely severed, right?" His confused voice came back. "What? What's going on? I didn't mean." "What is it? You haven't made any sense so far. If you don't have anything specific, I'm hanging up." "No, don't hang up. Please, don't hang up. I'm begging you." My ex-husband suddenly changed his attitude. It's almost amusing how quickly his attitude changes. When I showed willingness to listen to him for a moment, he started to fumble through his story. "So, yesterday, there was an awards ceremony at the headquarters for that project I mentioned. And the chairman was there too, and he started talking to me, normally praising the project, when suddenly he asked, 'By the way, how is your married life with my granddaughter going?' And what happened then?" Well, I thought he was talking about Lynn, the department head's daughter. I didn't know she was the chairman's granddaughter, but anyway, I said everything was going great thanks to her, still feeling like newlyweds. Then he said, "Oh, I thought you married my granddaughter 10 years ago, still feeling like newlyweds, huh? Well, it's good to get along. Keep up the good work." I didn't understand what was happening, and even when I asked her, she said she wasn't the chairman's granddaughter and asked what I was talking about. My grandfather is quite the trickster. My ex-husband's voice started trembling. Was he crying? Did he think he had the right to cry? And then? "What are you trying to say? Are you the granddaughter of the chairman?" "If you're talking about Chairman Shin, yes, he's my grandfather." As I answered, I could hear my ex-husband gasping for breath. It was as if his soul had left him. My grandfather is the founder and current chairman of a well-known major company. My father has succeeded him and is the CEO of the company. Although he has stepped back from the front lines, he still holds tremendous influence and authority. That's my grandfather. I had informed my grandfather of my divorce from my ex-husband. He listened to me seriously and comforted me kindly. "All right. When I see him at the next award ceremony, maybe I'll stir things up a bit." Grandfather said that with a sly smile. That stirring up comment must have been the very words my husband had just awkwardly relayed. The comments about how my marital life with his granddaughter was going, that we had married 10 years ago but it was good we were still getting along, those could seem like tender words from a caring grandfather. But to my ex-husband, who knew nothing, they must have been utterly baffling. Who is my granddaughter, he must have wondered. If it wasn't the department head's daughter, there could only be one answer. True, I never felt the need to mention it specifically, but there's no way he could have spent 10 years with me and not know. It showed just how little interest my ex-husband had in me. As soon as I told him I was the chairman's granddaughter, he was speechless, but he soon regained his composure and started yelling. "What is this? You're the chairman's granddaughter. What kind of joke is this? Have you been hiding this from me? Were you deceiving me? If I had known you were the chairman's granddaughter, I would have." You would have what? Not had an affair with the department head's daughter? When I countered, my ex-husband fell silent. I had hit the mark. You saw them at our wedding, didn't you? Well, maybe you haven't had many chances to see them since then, because you've been so busy. Sure, but I thought they were different people. You told me your father and grandfather were just employees. Even as CEO, one is still part of the company. That was the belief of both my father and grandfather. They claim their titles when necessary, but otherwise, they say they're just employees. But your family's home was just a normal condo. If you were from a family that founded the company, I would have thought you'd live somewhere nicer. Ah, are you talking about the room you visited when you came for the marriage introduction? That was my father's office. Huh? If you're referring to our family's main house, it was under renovation when you came to meet for the marriage. You always said you were busy with work or on business trips during the holidays and never attended any family gatherings. That's why you never had the chance to see it, right? Now that I think about it, it's suspicious how often you said you were working or traveling for work. Maybe you were meeting your lover under the guise of work. If you found me bothersome, it makes sense that you would dislike attending family gatherings. This can't be, this isn't what I expected. I could hear a scratching noise. Maybe he was scratching his head. Hey, Susie! Can we meet face to face to talk? There must have been many misunderstandings between us. No, that's not possible. I'm currently on a business trip overseas. Huh? Overseas? Yes, I was sitting in a cafe in a foreign country when I received the call from my ex-husband. I'm on a 2-week business trip, so I won't be back until next week. My ex-husband seemed unable to grasp that I was abroad, questioning repeatedly, huh? What? You, on a business trip abroad? Why? Aren't you just a part-timer? How can a part-timer go on an international business trip? That's another misunderstanding. I'm not a part-timer. I work full-time at my father's company. How did you come to think I was a part-timer? My ex-husband seemed even more confused, as he kept repeating, but, like a child. Suddenly, it seemed to dawn on him. Wait a minute. You work full-time at your father's company, which means you're an employee at the headquarters. Well, I'm just a branch employee? Well, yes, that's the case. But headquarters or branches, each has its roles and responsibilities. It's not about who's above or below. Shut up, shut up. What do you mean you work at the headquarters? I've been working hard, wanting to get there myself. Were you hiding that too? That's right. You've been looking down on me, mocking me for working at the branch. That's just groundless accusation and paranoia. It was you who looked down on me, wasn't it? I've never looked down on you, and I never will. We're unrelated strangers now, and I couldn't care less. What do you mean, couldn't care less? Are we done here? I have a meeting coming up with another party. I've indulged your complaints enough, you should be thankful. Goodbye. Hey, wait! I hung up the phone before my ex-husband could reply. Honestly, it was revolting. My feelings for my ex-husband are now nothing but none or disgust. But with the way things are, he probably won't back down quietly. Just in case, I informed my parents, grandfather, and son. For the next few days, I focused on my work. Then, after completing my business trip, I safely returned home. My mother, who picked me up at the airport, looked grim. Dad told me that Sam came to the headquarters and barged into the CEO's office demanding a conversation. He was turned away, but apparently, he's been waiting outside the headquarters, and Dad is quite troubled by it. I was appalled by my ex-husband's actions that only further worsened my father's opinion of him. And waiting outside all this time, had he abandoned his own job to do this? How far would he go to reconcile with me? What about the daughter of the department head he had remarried? His actions were too impulsive. I couldn't believe he operated like this at work too. Now, distrust was added to my feelings towards my ex-husband. A few days after I returned from my business trip, I finally encountered my ex-husband.
Susie! I finally found you! Please, just listen to me. Security! This man is not from the headquarters. He's a suspicious person.
As soon as my ex-husband saw my face, he dashed towards me. I immediately braced myself and yelled at the top of my lungs. In the next moment, security guards came flying in from all directions. My ex-husband was pinned down by the guards, groaning in pain.
What are you doing to your ex-husband? You could at least listen to me.
There's nothing to discuss with a suspicious person, is there? I looked down at my ex-husband with disdain. However, even if I refused here, he surely wouldn't be satisfied. He would probably keep assaulting the headquarters like this over and over again. It was just too troublesome. I sighed and contacted my father and grandfather. Yes. Thank you. After hanging up the phone, I looked at my ex-husband. I will arrange a meeting for you. Security, could you please take this man to the conference room on the 3rd floor? Just hearing about the meeting, my ex-husband's face lit up. However, the discussion that was about to take place was not as benign as he might think. I was determined to resolve this matter thoroughly. And in conference room D, myself, my father, my grandfather, and my ex-husband were all present.
Who is that standing over there?
My ex-husband pointed to a man standing silently in the corner of the room. Oh, he's our consulting attorney. I thought it would be good to have him as a witness.
A witness?
Think of him as just part of the atmosphere. Now, let's hear what you have to say. It was like an intimidating interview. Prompted by my father and grandfather, my ex-husband began to speak, trembling.
I deeply regret any actions that may have hurt Susie.
And?
Well, from now on, I'll change and do better. I'll devote myself to family matters. So, could we, start over?
Susie, what do you think? My ex-husband stared at me intently. However, my heart remained unmoved. No. There is absolutely no future in which I will walk together with him again. I have no intention whatsoever of starting over with you.
What? After I've pleaded so much?
If you're asking, why don't you at least try apologizing to me for once? Honestly, your true colors are showing.
Oh.
He clammed up in panic, but it was too late. The icy glares from my father and grandfather pierced through my ex-husband. Just then, there was the sound of hurried footsteps rushing towards us. The conference room door burst open. In came my ex-husband's current wife and her father, namely, the department head and his daughter.
Please! I didn't know anything. It was all that man and my daughter acting on their own. Please, just don't demote me.
Wait, Dad. You should be protecting me first. I truly didn't know anything. I was deceived and coerced by that man. I didn't even know it was an affair. I was the victim. My ex-husband's eyes widened in shock. Department head Sawabe and his daughter, Lynn, burst into the room, each claiming to be the victim, ignorant of the entire situation. Watching this, both my father and grandfather sighed. The positions of the department head and Lynn had become very precarious within the company. The department head, having supported the affair and leaked favorable inside information to my ex-husband, was facing a demotion and a pay cut. Lynn was disciplined for inappropriate conduct within the company, and further, which my ex-husband probably doesn't know, she had relationships with multiple men besides my ex-husband, engaging in unspeakable acts with them within the company premises. In essence, we have three troublemakers gathered here.
What? Both of you are blaming me. You said if it's a man chosen by your daughter, it can't be wrong, that no one can beat true love, even if he's married, right? Lynn, you were always supporting my promotion, asking your father for favors. Wasn't that all true?
I don't remember saying that. Stop spouting nonsense. You were the one who ingratiated yourself with me to steal the information I had. Thanks to that information, this project was also a success, wasn't it? I knew nothing. You did it all on your own. Don't blame me. That's right. I didn't know you were married either. And that your wife was the chairman's granddaughter. You bragged about being on a surefire elite path, so I thought you were a prime catch and asked Dad to take care of you, and look how this turned out. The three of them blamed each other, engaging in an unbearable and ugly argument. They seemed to not even understand what they were saying themselves as their lies and pretexts gradually fell apart. Truly disgraceful. Is this their true nature? Oh, it seems you're busy here. Just then, a new character appeared. Seeing them, my ex-husband tried to ingratiate himself, breaking away from the argument.
What happened this time is really...
Oh, don't say such creepy words. My mother gave a graceful smile. Realizing it was futile to persuade my mother, my ex-husband targeted my son.
Hey, Sean, I'm sorry for everything. I haven't been there for the family at all. I really am sorry, and I'm going to be a better dad. Hey Sean, you joined the baseball club, right? Let's play catch on the weekends, huh? You'd like your dad to be around, right? Please help me convince your mom.
You know, I'm in the soccer club, not baseball.
What?
You really aren't interested in me, are you? Don't you even remember my birthday?
No, that's not. I mean...
Receiving a cold look from his own son, my ex-husband faltered. After betraying Mom and me, how can you say such things? You're not a father or anything to me anymore. Never involve yourself with me and Mom again. That's right. I put my arm around my son's shoulder and stood in front of my ex-husband. You want to reconcile with us not because you love us, but because I'm the granddaughter of the chairman, right? You've always only thought about yourself. Knowing this, why should we listen to you? There's no reason for us to have anything more to do with you. Never show yourself to us again. After I scolded him, my ex-husband crumbled. And then he began to cry pathetically, but no one here had any sympathy for him. In the meantime, the dirty excuses of the department head and Lynn were being stopped by our lawyer. This was their retribution. Rumors spread that my ex-husband had been promoted due to the affair, and perhaps feeling unwelcome, he resigned from the company. The department head and Lynn also submitted their resignations for similar reasons. Child support my ex-husband has paid was based on the increased salary he anticipated from his promotion. As a result, he ended up in debt and now works desperately as a freelancer from morning till night. My ex-husband and Lynn are technically still married, but they are constantly fighting, so it's probably only a matter of time before they separate. My son and I have started a new life. Not only is my job going well, but I've also met someone new. My grandfather introduced me to the son of a prominent business owner, and we hit it off. At my age, I didn't expect to fall in love, but my son supports me. I think to myself that life still has much to offer, and I'm determined to make the most of it.